My name is Harley Draven. I'm from Bellingham, Washington, and I'm passionate about helping the community with ADA issues, accessibility, and making a barrier-free world. What was my life like before my injury? I grew up a country girl, so I had 4 horses, 2 children. I was getting ready to start a modeling career. I loved climbing cliffs and just hiking, camping. It happened on June 27th, 1994, which was my 19th birthday. I went swimming with some friends at a place called Paradise Cove in Three Rivers, California. And I dove into a river and hit my head on a rock. And I didn't even know I broke my neck at first until I tried to pull myself out. And then I fell back in the river. And luckily, my friend saw what happened and he grabbed me and pulled me out. Otherwise, I probably would have drowned. All of a sudden, I'm waking up and kind of find out I was in ICU for 5 days. Once I came to and started talking to the doctors, it was very clear that my accident was very severe and I'm going to be like this for the rest of my life. I told the doctors, you're not God. I'm not a textbook. I'm going to walk in a year. But then the reality was it's not going to work. And it took me 6 years to stop trying to go through a severe depression. Behind closed doors, I was trying to kill myself. I had to start realizing that this is permanent. And being a mom, I had to do what's best for my children. So I started researching and trying to find out, who am I? What is my true purpose? And how can I be the best person I can be? I'm a C7 incomplete quadriplegic. I can move my hands, but only to this extent. I have 0 grip. Most of my sensation for complete sensation is all the way down to my chest area. Biggest barrier I think I faced was I had to learn to advocate for myself. I didn't know what type of chair I needed. So when I first had my accident, they gave me a manual chair. I was very limited on where I could go, what I could do, because I didn't have the upper body strength. It wasn't until about 4 years after my accident that I finally got an electric wheelchair and found my independence, found my freedom. Growing up in the country, I was actually able to go hiking now with my kids, go on walks. Having a power chair allowed me to work on my horses. It has handles, so I learned I can go grocery shopping and put the bags on my handles. Some of the things that helped me get out of that dark place after my accident was a lot of positive affirmations. I would read them. I'd listen to them. I also started getting more involved with the community and getting out there and talking to others and hearing their stories. I was actually in the middle of a divorce when I had my accident. I already had my 2 children from before. My daughter was born when I was 16. My son was born when I was 18. My son actually turned 10 months old the day of my accident. Relationships, very challenging, because with a quadriplegic, what you see is not what you get. We come with a lot of responsibilities. But once you find your independence and you find that you are able to be independent, it's easier. I honestly never thought I'd find a relationship that I would stay in. And I'm currently married to my best friend. We're not legally married because if I did that, I'd lose my benefits. On paper, we have to put that we're only fiance. But in our hearts, we're just 2 peas in a pod. I started public speaking with the Army Corps of Engineers 9 months after my accident. And I had to stop that because I felt like a hypocrite telling people, oh yeah, life's great after an accident, and when I'm trying to kill myself. But then when I really started realizing, there is positivity to this, I joined a committee for persons with disabilities in California, and I brought awareness to city engineers. I'm currently a freelance ADA advocate. I work hand in hand with the bus transit system up here. I serve on the board for the nonprofit that I have behind me. The Northwest Spinal Cord Injury Network is a network for people that are newly injured or people that have been injured for years. We do all we can to help with independent living skills, help finding care providers. We give peer support. We also do what's called gang ball, which is like indoor wheelchair soccer. And then we have outings. We go out to lunch. We go out on hikes. Since my accident, the most surprising accomplishments, I'm an artist. I paint, I upcycle cabinet doors and paint them, and I've sold quite a few. I do painting on canvas. It took me 8 years to become independent. That's a great accomplishment right there. Because when I first had my accident, doctors told me I'd never live alone. Just defying the odds, anything that I could defy is a personal accomplishment. Being a mom of 2 children when I had my accident, thank God for family. My family stepped up. I signed custody of my children over to my parents for a little bit. CPS, you hear a lot of horror stories, but CPS actually came to my aid. They actually helped me get beds and clothing for my children. I would love to travel. I would love to travel to Scotland because that's where my family heritage is from. I would love to see the older places, see what is and is not accessible, just as a personal challenge, as a personal goal. The one thing that I would love to do is travel the United States as a circle, start going across the top of the states, come back through the southern states, and everywhere we stop, I would offer advocacy, do public speaking about water safety because my accident had to do with water. If you just got a spinal cord injury, brand new, hasn't even been a month, I will be honest, life's going to suck for a little bit. It's hard when you first have an accident. I mean, it's like almost like the 5 stages of grief after the loss of an individual that you love. You go through the anger, the resentment, the denial, and then you go through the absolute loss of where am I? And then once you really step up, say, okay, I'm at the bottom. From here, there's only one way. That's up. And that's where you start finding out not about what you've lost, but what you still have. And what can you do with what you still have? And just push yourself and push yourself. And if at first you don't succeed, that's okay. I mean, being in a wheelchair, you learn to think outside the box. It's hard to get your socks on today. Well, I guarantee in probably a year, it's going to be easy peasy. You can't put your own clothes on yet. The key word is yet. Just keep on trying. When I first had my accident, I had the very strong mindset of I will walk again. They gave me less than 5% chance, and I flat out said I will walk. Almost a year later, I took 8 steps with just leg braces and a walker and praying to God I didn't fall down. Though the reality kicked in that, my body it wasn't doing it. It wasn't cooperating. And so with the reality of, no, I'm never going to walk again, regardless of believing in miracles, believing in God, believing in the power of prayer. Sometimes reality is reality. Once I got over the depression of this is my reality, I started finding, okay, if I'm never going to walk again, what do I still have? My hands don't move, but I can still work together. I can still use the 2 hands together as one. That's how I've learned how to paint with a paintbrush. I've learned how to write with an actual ink pen without an apparatus. You don't know until you try. And you got to keep trying because a lot of things aren't going to work out the first time. For me, I've gotten the goals of, okay, let's not focus on the past. Let's focus on the here and now. I don't even believe in the future. The future's not even here yet. So it's about living in the moment, living in today, and living each day as if it's your last.